samsaradava nalalidaloka trinaya karuna guna ganatvam praptasya kalyana gunanavasya vande guru shri charanaravinam Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita Vaditra Madhyan Manasorasena Romancha Kampa Shutaranga Vajo Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinda Shri Vigrahara Dada Nityanana Shingarathan Mandira Marjanado Yuktasya Bhaktam Staniyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinam Chaturvida Shri Bhagavat Prasada Swadana Triptan Haribaksha Sangram Kritraiva Triptim Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinam Shri Radhika Madhavayorapara Madhurya Leela Gunarupanam Pratikshanaasvadanalolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinam Nikunjayo no Rati Keli Siddhai Yayali Bir Yukti Rapikshaniyai Tatrati Daksharati Vallabhasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinam साक्षादरित्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तस्तथा भाव्यत एव सार्भिः किन्तु प्रभोर्य प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् यस्य प्रसाद भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसाद न गति कुतोऽपि जयं स्तुवंस्तस्य यशश्रीसाद्यं वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दं वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद चैतन्य नित्यानंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद चैतन्य नित्यानंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Hare, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Nilamadva, Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha, Sita Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sitaram Jaya Sitaram Sitaram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
ISKCON founder Acharya, BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Pradika Acharya Ashtota Shriman Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridasa Kur ki jai. Premise Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Shri Marga Dham ki jai, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai, Shri Ganga Mai ki jai, Shri Yamuna Mai ki jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Tulsi Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktavinda ki jai, Gaura Pramanande Hari. All glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to assembled devotees, all glory to assembled devotees, all glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glory to Shri Prabhupada ki.
जगदीशः शीलटङ्कानकालये तो नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहा नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहा यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहा बाहिर्नरसिंहा हृदये नरसिंहा नरसिंहा हृदये नरसिंहा नरसिंहमदिं शरणं प्रपदे तव करकमलवरे नाकाम् अद्भुतशृङ्गां दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तानुभृङ्गां केशवदृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव करकमलवरे नाकाम् अद्भुतशृङ्गां दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तानुभृङ्गां केशवदृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवदृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे अद्रिता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय भक्त प्रहलाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव विघ्न विनाशक लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namaha Radha Krishna Seva Pavo He Abhilashi Radha Krishna Seva Pavo He Abhilashi Ye Tumhara sharan loy Tara vancha purna hoy Kripa kori karo tare Vrindavanavasi Oraye Abhilash Vilas Kunja Diyavat Nayane Hribo Sada Yugalaru Parasi He Nivedanadaro Sakiranugata Karo Sevadikara diye Koro Nijadasi Dina Krishna Dasi Koye Namurahoy Shri Radha Govinda Preme Sada Yena Basi Shri Radha Govinda Preme Sada Yena Basi दासी यानि कानि हि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्महत्यादिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणपादे पदे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare जय तुलसी महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय श्री महारानी जय तुलसी महारानी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी जय वृंदा देवी नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल वृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। श्री वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः। श्री वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः। श्री वृंदाय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः। वृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय।
O Tulasi, beloved Krishna, I bow down before you again and again. desire is in the service of Radha and Krishna. Whoever pictures of you has reached pursuit, bestow mercy upon me, make him a resident of Vrindavan. My desire that you always find the special growth of Shiva and Dhamma. Thus, I shall always behold the beautiful path in Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of Karo damsel's brother. Please give me the grace devotional service and make me your own maidservant. This very fallen, lowly servant of Krishna prays, may I always swim in the love of Shri Radha and Govinda. Vrindadev Tulsi Maharani. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavakni Nirvapanam Shriya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavatu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Patipadam Purnarmita Sadhanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nanam Makari Bhavadani Sarva Shakti Tatra Pitani Amita Smaranena Kalaha Edadishi Tava Kripa Bhagavam Mamadi Durudevami Deshami Hajanina Nurakaha Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtanya Sadaharihi Nathanam Nachanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadishakamaye Mama Jammani Jammanishvare Bhavata Bhaktir Haitukitoi Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mang Vishame Pavam Buddha Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Stitha Duri Sajesham Vichintaya Nayanam Garadashru Daraya Varanam Kadgada Rudaya Gira Purakai Nichitam Vapurukada Tava Nama Kahane Bhavishati Yuga Itam Nimishena Chatusha Pravisha Itam Shunya Itam Jaga Sarvam Govinda Virahe Name Ashri Shava Padratam Pinnashtumam Adarjanam Marmhatam Karotuva Yatha Tatha Va Vitatha Lampato Mat Prana Natha Susa Eva Na Paraha Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Chaitanya Shikshastakam ki jai. Thank you for movement.
offenses to the chanting of the holy name. 1. To blaspheme devotees who have dedicated their lives to propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. Consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic scriptures or scriptures in pursuance to the Vedic version. 5. To consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be in imagination. 6. To give some interpretations to the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord. 8. Consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as further activities or karma kama. 9. To instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name. 10. To not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy name, and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. It is also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. Now I offer my most respectful obeisances to all the vice devotees of the Lord. They are just like desire trees, filled with desires of earth, and they are full of compassion for the fallen and conditioned souls. Vanja kalpa purubhascha kripa sindhuva eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Vaishnavadogurvi jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Pradesh Bhaktivedanta Swami. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharni Nivasishya Shunyavadi Paschatchadeshatarne. Mangala Charna. Om Ajnana Tirmandasya Janandana Salakaya Chakshura Ummilitam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sargajatam Sahaguna Raghunatha Tam Idam Tam Sjevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Arjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahaguna Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Cha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharne Nirvishishya Shunyavadi Paschatchadeshatarne Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namane Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayata Kripate Krishna Sambhamyana Vigyana Dayane Prabhuve Namaha Madhur Jodhvala Pramadiha Shri Rupanuga Bhaktita Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namaste Namaste Gauravani Shri Murte Dinatarine Rupanuga Vrudapa Sadantatamtaharne Nama Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vigraharmurtaye Rupralamba Rasambode Padama Pujatate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidanandana Mine Gaura Shakti Sarupaya Rupanuga Vrayate Varbir Mamabudas Vandirdas Sajana Vaishnava Sarvabhuma Shri Jagannathayate Namaha Ancha Kalpa Karubhascha Kripa Sindhuva Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurtavase Namaha Panchasattvatakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktartarvam Bhaktayam Namni Bhaktisakitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Daitam Suratur Pangor Mama Mande Mater Mati Kati Matsarvasya Padam Roja Radha Mano 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 Divyad Vrindaya Vrinda Vrinaya Kalpa Drimadaha Srimad Ratnakara Samasanastato Shri Radha Shri Govinda Deva Prastava Prastavavi Swayam Manu Saramami Shriman Rasa Rasamvi Vamsi Bhatatastata Arsan Danir Swanir Gopir Gopinath Ayatres Puna Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Pri Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Brahma Samhita Ki Jai Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Chintamani Pakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Laksharatesha Surabhira Vikalayantam Lakshmi Sahasa Satasambram Sevimanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Venam Pranantanam Arinda Dalai Laksham Paparvitam Sundarandam Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandra Lasad Balamala Hamsi Patnanganam Panaya Keli Kalali Lasam Shaiman Dibangalatan Liyata Prakasam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angyani Yasa Sakalendriya Vritti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Zaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sarupa Labidrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adam Purana Purusam Navanuvayam Cha Vede Sudula Mamadula Mama Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pankastakoti Satasapam Samvargamyo Parayo Ratapi Panso Nipungavanam Shokasti Pradasyan Janya Avantate Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekyo Vashotam Datananta Kotim Yaschakri Vasi Datananta Anuchayantarashtam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yad Bhava Bhavita Dyoma Jastataiva Samprapya Rupa Mahimasan Yonapusa Suktaryam Evanikama Pratitaistuvanti Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasabmat Patibhavita Bhista Birya Evanicha Rupa Tayakalabi Goloka Evanivasata Kilatma Bhutto Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena Santak Sadeva Hidesu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena Santak Sadeva Hidesu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ramadi Murti Sukalani Menatistana Navataram Akarod Bhuvanesu Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Paramam Pamamyo Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Asya Prabha Prabhavato Jagadanta Koti Koti Svasesa Vasadadi Vibhuti Benam Tad Brahmanis Kalamanantam Asesa Bhutam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Maya Hiyasya Jagadanta Satani Sute Jai Gunya Tad Visaya Veda Vitaya Manam Sadva Valambi Parasatvam Visuddha Sattvam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ananda Chinmaya Rasat Pratibhavita Bhista Ananda Chinmaya Rasat Mataya Madasuya Pranilam Pratifalam Smaratam Upetya Lilayatena Bhuvanani Jaya Jasram Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Golokanam Ninjitami Tale Chitasya Devi Maheswari Dhamma Sute 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 Te Prabhavani Jaya Vitas Jayena Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Shasti Stati Palaya Sadhava Sakti Reka Jayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Vibharti Durga Ichana Rupam Abhyasya Chite Statesa Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Sri Ram Yata Dedi Vikara Visesa Yoga Sanjayate Naitata Pritakasti Heta Yam Sam Bhutam Apitat Sam
Paitikarya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Diparchare Vidasantaram Abhyapetya Dipayate Vivitahita Samana Dharma Yastadrige Vihicha Vishnutaya Vivati Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Akarna Narana Vajali Bhajatisma Yoga Nidram Ananta Chakrananda Saroma Kupa Adhara Sakti Mavalambya Param Samurtim Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasyaika Nisvasita Kalamata Vilambya Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadandanata Vishnu Mahansa Yasyakala Visesu Govindam Adipurisham Tamaham Bhajami Vyasmanya Tasma Sakalesana Jaysa Teja Sriyam Kiyat Prakatayata Pitat Pratatra Brahmaya Esa Jagadana Vidana Karta Govindam Adipurisham Tamaham Bhajami Yat Pada Palavigam Vridaya Kumbha Dvande Pranama Samaya Sakanadi Raja Vignandri Hantam Malavasya Jagatrayasya Govindam Adipurisham Tamaham Bhajami Agnir Mahika Ganamamura Marudisascha Kalas Tatatmana Siti Jagatrayani Asmad Bhavanti Vibhavanti Visanti Amcha Govindam Adipurisham Tamaham Bhajami Yaschak Suresa Savita Sagilagrahanam Raja Samasta Suramurti Sesa Teja Yasyagaya Brahmati Sambrita Kalachakro Govindam Adipurisham Tamaham Bhajami Dharmo Tapapa Nichayastapam Si Brahma Dikita Patagavya Tajivaha Yadata Matra Vibhava Prakata Prabhava Govindam Adipurisham Tamaham Bhajami Yastrindra Gopa Matavendra Mahosva Karma Bandhanu Rupa Valabhajana Matanati Karmani Nedhati Kinchuda Bhakti Bhajam Govindam Adipurisham Tamaham Bhajami Shriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpataravo Jama Bhumish Chintamani Ganam Maya Doyam Amritam Kataganam Natyam Gamanam Apibam Sipriya Saki Chirinandam Jati Param Apitas Apitadas Vadyam Apicha Sayatra Shiradivi Savati Sirabi Yascha Sumahanime Sardakyava Vajatina Hiya Tripisamaya Beja Bajay Svita Dvipam Tamaham Ihugola Kamitiyam Vidantas Te Santakshati Viracharakati Payes Shiguru Vastika prayers, Kijay. The spiritual master is receiving benediction from the ocean of mercy, just as a cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish its other. Spiritual master delivers in a material world by extinguishing a blazing fire. Material existence, I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual masters, ocean of auspicious qualities. Chanting the holy name, dancing in ecstasy, singing and playing music. The spiritual master is always guided by the Sankirtan movement. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because he is relishing in mellows, a pure devotion within his mind. Sometimes his hair stands on end, he feels quivering in his body, and tears flow from his eyes like waves. I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. He also engaged his disciples in such worship. They dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments, clean their temple, and perform other similar worship of the Lord. I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is always offering Krishna four kinds of delicious food, analyzes that which is licked, chewed, drunk, and sucked. When the spiritual master sees that the devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavad Prasada, he is satisfied. Offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual master. The spiritual master is always eager to hear and chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes, erotic and modified, and their qualities, names, and forms. The spiritual master aspires to relish these at every moment. For my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual master. Spiritual master is very dear because he's expert at assisting the gopis who at different times make different tastes from arranging for the perfection of Radha and Krishna's conjugal loving affairs within the groves of Radha. I offer my most humble obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual masters. Spiritual masters to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he's the most confidential servant to the Lord. This is acknowledged in all revealed scriptures and followed by all authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of such spiritual masters as a bona fide representative of Sri Hare Krishna. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master at least 3 times a day. I should offer my respectful obeisance to the lotus feet of my spiritual master, his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 6. We'll do verse number 28 again and then go forward. Atyanti kena satvena divyam deva propedire. Dharam raja sambhavena panayoge chasan chetan anu. Adyantikena, excessive, sattvena, by the mode of goodness. Divyam, in the higher planets. Deva, the demigods. Prapedira, Papedire, have been situated. Dharam, on the earth. Raja, the mode of passion. Swabhena, Swabhavena, by nature. Panaya, the human being. Yea, all those. Cha, also. Tan, there. Anu, subordinate. Translation. The demigods, qualified by the super excellent quality of the mode of goodness, are situated in the heavenly planets, whereas the human beings, because of their nature, in the mode of passion, live on the earth in company of their subordinates. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Purport by His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In Bhagavad Gita 14.14-15, it is said that those who are highly developed in the mode of goodness are promoted to the higher heavenly planetary system, and those who are overpowered by the mode of passion are situated in the middle planetary systems, the Earth and similar planets. But those who are surcharged with the mode of ignorance are degraded to the lower planetary systems or to the animal kingdom. The demigods are highly developed in the mode of goodness, and thus they are situated in the heavenly planets. Below human beings are the animals, although some of them mingle with human society. Cows, horses, dogs, etc., are habituated to living under the protection of human beings. The word adyantikena is very significant in this verse. By development of the mode of goodness, material nature, one can become situated in the heavenly planets. But by excessive development of modes of passion and ignorance, the human being indulges in killing the animals who are meant to be protected by mankind. Persons who indulge in unnecessary animal killing have excessively developed in the modes of passion and ignorance and have no hope of advancing to the mode of goodness. They are destined to be degraded to lower statuses of life. The planetary systems are calculated as upper and lower in terms of the classes of living entities who live there. Haribol. That last sentence is very significant also, because we see that the planetary systems are calculated as upper and lower in terms of the classes of living entities who live there. So a planet like the moon is considered a heavenly planet because the people that live there have bodies made mostly of mind and with a admixture of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and intelligence and false ego. But the main constituent of the body is mind. Therefore, if you go to the moon, you won't see anyone. You don't have the eyes to see them, but they are there. They have a different, let's say, subtle composition of the body, much more subtle than the human body. So therefore, we might not see them, but they are there. So, therefore, the moon is considered a heavenly planet. It is farther away than the sun, and actually 20 times bigger than the sun. But of course, scientists don't know this, and that is their misfortune, because they don't read Srimad Bhagavatam. Even if they read Srimad Bhagavatam, they don't believe it. So that means they're in bad shape. Okay, now we'll go to text 29. Tartiyena swabhavenam bhagavan nabhim asritaha ubayor antaram vyoma ye rudra parsadam gana. Tartiyena, by excessive development of the third mode of material nature, the mode of ignorance. The mode of ignorance. Swabhavena, by such nature. Bhagavat Nabhim, the abdominal navel of the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead. Ashrita, those who are so situated. Ubayo, between the two. Antaram, in between. Vyoma, the sky. Ye, all of whom. Rudra Parsadam, associates of Rudra. Gana, population. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Living entities who are associates of Rudra develop in the third mode of material nature, or ignorance. They are situated in the sky between the earthly planets and the heavenly planets. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The middle portion of the sky is called Bhuvarloka, as confirmed by both Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti and Srila Jiva Goswami. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that those who develop in the mode of passion are situated in the middle region. Those who are situated in the mode of goodness are promoted to the regions of the demigods. Those who are situated in the mode of passion are placed in human society, and those who are situated in the mode of ignorance are placed in the society of animals or ghosts. There are no contradictions in this conclusion. Numerous living entities are distributed all over the universe in different planets and are so situated in terms of their own qualities in the modes of material nature. Text number 30. Mukato Vartata Brahma Purushasya Kurudvaha Yastun Mukatvat Varnanam Mukyo Bhud Brahmano Guru. Mukata, from the mouth. Avartata, generated. Brahma, the Vedic wisdom. Purushasya, of the Virat Purusha, the gigantic form. I'm sorry, yeah. Kuru Udvaha, the chief of the Kuru dynasty. Yeah, who are two, due to unmukatvat, inclined to, varnanam, of the orders of society, mukyaha, the chief, abut, so became, brahmana, called the brahmanas, guru, the recognized teacher or spiritual master. To Swami Srila Prabhupada. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 4, O chief of the Kuru dynasty, the Vedic wisdom, because manifested from the mouth of the Virat, the gigantic form. Those who are inclined to this Vedic knowledge are called Brahmanas, and they are the natural teachers and spiritual masters of all the orders of society. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 4.13, the four orders of human society develop with the order of the body of the gigantic form. The bodily divisions are the mouth, arms, waist, and legs. Those who are situated on the mouth are called Brahmanas. Those who are situated on the arms are called Kshatriyas. Those who are situated on the waist are called Vaishyas, and those who are situated on the legs are called Sudras. Everyone is situated in the body of the Supreme, in his gigantic Vishwarupa form. In terms of the four orders, therefore, no caste is to be considered degraded because of being situated on a particular part of the body. In our own bodies, we do not show any actual difference in our treatment towards the hands or legs. Each and every part of the body is important, although the mouth is the most important of the bodily parts. If other parts are cut off from the body, a man can continue his life. But if the mouth is cut off, one cannot live. Therefore, the most important part of the body of the Lord is called the sitting place of the Brahmanas, who are inclined to the Vedic wisdom. One who is not inclined to the Vedic wisdom, but to mundane affairs, cannot be called a Brahmana, even if he is born of a Brahmana family or father. To have a Brahmana father does not qualify one as a Brahmana. The main qualification of a Brahmana is to be inclined to the Vedic wisdom. The Vedas are situated on the mouth of the Lord, and therefore anyone who is inclined to the Vedic wisdom is certainly situated on the mouth of the Lord, and he is a Brahmana. This inclination towards Vedic wisdom is also not restricted to any particular caste or community. Anyone from any family and from any part of the world may become inclined to the Vedic wisdom, and that will qualify him as a real Brahmana. A real Brahmana is the natural teacher or spiritual master. Unless one has Vedic knowledge, one cannot become a spiritual master. The perfect knowledge of the Vedas is to know the Lord, the personality of Godhead, and that is the end of Vedic knowledge, or Vedanta. One who is situated in an impersonal Brahman and has no information of the Supreme Personality of Godhead may become a Brahmana, but he cannot become a spiritual master. It is said in the Padma Purana, Satkarma nipuno vipro, mantra tantra visarada, avaishnavo guru nasyat, vaishnava swapako guru. An impersonalist can become a qualified Brahmana, but he cannot become a spiritual master unless and until he is promoted to the stage of a Vaishnava or a devotee of the personality of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya, the great authority of Vedic wisdom in the modern age, stated, Kiba vipraktibanyasi sudrikene naya ye Krishna tattva veda se guru haya. A person may be a Brahmana or a Sudra or a sannyasi, but if he happens to be well versed in the science of Krishna, then he is fit to become a spiritual master. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 8.128. The qualification then of a spiritual master is not to be a qualified Brahmana, but to be well versed in the science of Krishna. One who is conversant with Vedic wisdom is a Brahmana, and only a Brahmana who is a pure Vaishnava and knows all the intricacies of the science of Krishna can become a spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanandi Haribol. So, this is very, very good information. This just shows how deviant people have become in India from real Krishna consciousness. And yesterday I read something very interesting. Prabhupada said, this deviation from anyone can become a devotee started about 100 years ago. So when he's saying that, let's assume that was like in 1950, between 1950 and 1960, he said that, right? So that means around 1850, 1860, this shift started. Just like Lord Chaitanya, he makes Haridas Thakur, born in a Muslim family. He's a Muslim, no doubt about it, right? He makes him the Nama Acharya, the expert, the most advanced person in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's real Krishna consciousness, right? No one is excluded from becoming Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada is saying this shift from that, which was the original understanding of the Vedas. If you go back to ancient times, to the Jabal Upanishad. So Jabal was a very poor boy. He goes to see Gautam Muni and asks him, can you accept me as a disciple? Gautam Muni says, I want to know what your gotra is. He said, okay, I don't know. I'll go ask my mom. So he asked his mom. The mom had some tears in her eyes. Said, I don't know. I was not leading a good life when all this happened. So the boy's shocked. He goes back. He said, Gurudev, my mother said she doesn't know what my gotra is. He said, oh, okay, I accept you as my disciple. He said, what? But I told you I don't know my Gotra. He said, no, you are Brahmana. But how is that? He said, you told the truth. That is Brahmana. So that was Vedic culture from ancient times all the way up to, let's say, 150 years ago. Then the shift began. And why? Because from that point on, when the British had already taken over education system in India, many sons were born of Brahmanas who were not qualified to be Brahmanas, but yet claimed they were Brahmanas. And because of that, the fathers also were somewhat lax in following all the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. So, and they gave birth to sons who were not qualified. Dvija Bandhus, right? They were not twice born. So, at that point, they started making up all these theories about, you have to be born a Brahmana to be a Brahmana, and to be a Hindu, you have to be born in India, blah, 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 all this nonsense that came into, and I didn't realize it was so recent.
I don't think, Maharaj. I think this has been there for years, because we have so many examples of like saints, and they are like based on the Shudras. They have been hated by the Brahman communities.
No, you have Ramanujacharya. He accepted at least two Sudras, people born in
Yeah,
Sudra.
some Acharyas always, but the Brahmanical class always hated about the Shudras, and they
Then they're not-
deprived them from the scriptures. and all
Well,
those
anyway,
things.
I mean, you can say that. I'm just going by what Prabhupada said.
I know, but we also have a lot of
So, if Ramanujacharya did that's the right thing. You understand? So it was practiced. The right thing was practiced. It really went off the rails like 150 years ago, because too many Brahmanas gave birth to sons who were not qualified to be Brahmanas, and they were not trained, because now they were being educated by the British. Okay, so the Vedic wisdom became manifest from the mouth of the Virat, the gigantic form. So over and over again we're saying nothing is independent of Krishna, whether it's Krishna in the form of Virat Rupa, or Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, or Krishna as Paramatma. Nothing is independent of the Lord. What do they teach in school? The first thing they teach is there's no God, or at least science cannot validate the existence of God, therefore we ignore it. And then they teach everything separate from God. You see? This is like vicious, it's mean, it's wrong, it's demoniac. Right? And today we're going to learn something new. And I think you're going to be very surprised. Prabhupada says, chemicals come from the soul. It's not that the soul comes from chemicals, right? Or matter organized itself. It's that chemicals come from the jiva and Krishna. Now, how do we know that? Look up right now. How many chemicals does the body produce? You're going to be shocked. Every day there's a shock nowadays. Now you see, we don't have to do any research. The research is already done, right? I mean, we wouldn't be able to do this research anyway. We wouldn't have time.
109 chemicals. 109.
No, that's how many. All right, keep looking. Just keep looking.
This is for every
Yeah.
day.
What?
109.
109? Does it have a list of the chemicals?
Yeah, that's one of the sites claiming that.
What?
A total of 109, in fact, including 55 that have never been reported in human before, and 45 mystery chemicals.
That the human body produces?
Contains, the human body contains 109. I'm not sure if it's produced by you.
Somewhere else, Right now, you most likely have at least 700 chemicals in your body. So there is another place where it changed. 700.
109.
Huh?
109. That's what.
Yeah, that's one place.
No, but that says in the body. Does the body actually produce those chemicals?
Oh.
No.
It just says that's how
It
many
is.
it has.
Yeah.
Huh?
It just has them.
Chemicals.
Type, does the human body
Yeah.
produce chemicals?
Maharaj, one place it says. Hare Krishna Maharaj. In one place it says your body is constantly making, altering, and destroying chemical compounds, but they are so varied and complex that it is impossible to detect the count them all.
See? Well, send me that quote. You see? You can't even count the number of chemicals that the body is making. Now, you start with the known to understand the unknown. If a mundane person like you and me can make hundreds or thousands of chemicals in this body, of course, we don't know how it's happening, but it's happening. Just imagine Krishna's body, either in the form of the Virat Rupa or originally in Mahavishnu or Garbhodakshay Vishnu or Shirodakshay Vishnu, or going back to Krishna originally. You see, this is real science. This is not bogus nonsense stuff. There's no speculation involved. The proof is our body is producing, let's say, an unknown number of chemicals. Some of them are known, all right? Let's say 109 are known, right? But there are more that are being produced. They can't figure it out because it's happening so quickly and disappearing and so forth. So this is the truth. Now look, how many red blood corpuscles does the body make in a day? We have to get all these figures because people have to understand these things. We don't even understand the body. How are we going to understand anything about the universe? If you understand the body, then you'll be able to understand the universe. Let's put it like that.
259 billion red blood cells.
Yeah. 200 billion.
Red blood cells
Yeah.
produced what, in one day?
Yeah, per day.
Per day.
Did you know that?
10 billion. And 10 billion white cells.
10 billion, right?
And 400 billion platelets.
400 billion?
400 billion platelets.
Huge production is going on.
We can't even imagine this. That's happening in our body. You know, huh? It's a big chemical factory, much bigger than Tata. You put all Tata's factories together, and that's not even coming close to it. We have to know these things. The science is there. We don't have to do any research. We have to interpret it correctly. If the body can do this, imagine what Krishna's body can do. You see? We have to have these figures. We have to have these, because no one can argue with them. You know, or else they'll have to do their own research. No, it's not 400 billion. It's 399 billion. Okay, fine, but it still has a big B on it, right? This is real knowledge. This is actually, understanding something. If our body can do this, and it is doing it, otherwise we'd be dead, right? Imagine what Krishna's body is capable of doing. Okay. This is the way we have to teach our kids.
Just one question, Maharaj. Maharaj, doctors are they are more aware about these facts than a normal person.
No, they're not.
Like how many cells and production is going on.
They don't care about this
Yeah.
stuff.
So even though they know, but there is no realization or anything that side.
This is called selective evidence. They have all this evidence, right? So they select certain things from it and ignore the rest. Anything that seems to support their nonsense theories, they'll accept. Everything else, they say, well, that's not scientific. Or, yeah, it might be like that, but it's not really relevant. See, this is called selective evidence. They did the same thing with Darwinism. They had so much proof that all the species were existing from all time. They ignored all that, and they just take selective evidence that seems to point to what they think is what they want to think is true. You see? Just like it says, statistics don't lie, but those people who make the statistics, they lie. So they can make anything, by selective choices of evidence. Okay, so this is very interesting. So now your homework is to collect this information. There's a lot more than simply the blood, right? There are many more things that the body is making as a chemical factory. And this proves that chemicals come from life. And this is what the scientists say. We can hope to make life from chemicals. See, this is complete nonsense. But you don't realize how much nonsense it is until you actually study the body. You don't have to study the universe. Just study the body. Because the universe, the same thing is there. Unbelievable expansion of space. You can't believe how vast. And this is only 6% of the universe. The 7 coverings in the universe are much, much bigger than the visible universe. So you see, we don't understand anything about the universe also. I mean, they know they're only seeing 6%. Right? They put it there. We want to collect all this information. It's very important if we want to be effective preachers. First, for our own edification, and then secondly, to make other people realize, look, the science is there. It's not being interpreted correctly. Science is there. You don't have to do any research. Prabhupada said you don't have to do any research. Right? Like Einstein, he didn't do any research.
None of the scientists did actually.
What?
None of the scientists actually do record as an invention, but it's all discoveries.
No, there are scientists. Like Faraday was a brilliant scientist. He discovered electromagnetism.
Yeah, but discovery, right? So this is not invention.
No, it's already there.
Yeah, it's already there. Like
Yeah,
Newton.
but it was subtle. You understand? It was very subtle.
Yeah.
But Faraday was very careful. Let's say experimenter. He noticed something that was mysterious, and eventually figured out what it was. He's the father of electricity, right? Everybody else, like Tesla, all these guys, they come after him. Even Jagadish Chandra Bose, they come after him. He's the one that actually discovered, electromagnetism. And then Maxwell, his friend, who was a big mathematician, he gave them mathematical formulas. And that's why Einstein, he had pictures of 3 people in his office or where he did his studying. One was Faraday, the other was Maxwell, and the third was Schopenhauer. Schopenhauer, of course, is a nonsense guy, but Faraday and Maxwell, they were both brilliant, very brilliant people, right? And they're both Britishers. It's just surprising, but okay. Huh?
Most of the scientists from Europe or British actually.
No, you have plenty of German scientists also. Come on, but the British were at that time they were the top. They were the top. Yeah. Okay, so now, all right, I'm going to give you homework, and you got to do this now, right? And then we'll go back to this verse. The homework is, I want to know, as much as you can find out, how many chemicals the body produces. I want to know, of those chemicals, in what quantity they're produced. At least the ones that are known, right? They're saying there's many more we don't know. We know they're there, but we don't know them exactly. But the ones that are known, I want to know, what are the quantities? Like just blood, it runs into the billions on a daily basis. Not over a month or a year, on a daily basis, right? We should begin to understand these things, to understand what's going on in our own body. If we don't understand that, we cannot understand anything about the universe, because we are a microcosm of the universe. Just like there's Virat Rupa has a body, right? We also have a body. And our body is a microcosm of Virat Rupa. And our body is doing many of the same things that Virat Rupa's body is doing, because everything, as we're learning here in this section of the Bhagavatam, is coming from the Virat Rupa.
It's amazing actually to even look into the body. Each cell in and now it grows up to take the shape of different parts, like eyes. With the cells only, it forms different shapes of the body, right? I mean, it's not.
Yeah, well, all that is encoded. All that is encoded. So they claim in the DNA, and DNA is way more complicated than what we thought. That's the second homework. I want you to go deeply into the DNA and collect as much statistics as possible. Right? In every DNA, let's say, molecule, there are two genomes. This is all like unbelievable, the complexity in one cell of the body. And it replicates, and it stays without any mistakes all through life. It keeps replicating itself in every one of the cells, so there's complete continuity of the living entity, right? Like you have the same nose throughout life. How is that being maintained? Unless we begin to take drugs and things like that, there's some deterioration. But the DNA is there in every cell to keep the continuity of the living entity. These are all points that are already studied, but we have to put them all down and to be able to understand the complexity of the material body. Most people don't realize it. They just go along, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending like animals. Animals don't understand anything about their body, right?
So DNA is for characteristic of person, like maybe, but I'm talking about the shapes, right? So cells grows up from one set, how the ear forms. This is a unique shape of the ears, nose, your eyes, or your finger, or whatever. The shapes.
Yeah, but all that information is in the jiva, in the soul, and it's coming originally from Krishna.
All the senses, everything are there in the jiva, the soul.
Yeah.
It's just that the body is taking a shape based on the karma.
No, there is an engineering plan. Let's put it like that, right? And it's all there, and that little sperm is carrying it. Once the jiva is put into the sperm, that's the other thing. The sperm is not the jiva. It's just a carrier. And how does it carry? It's just like a boat, right? You have a big, let's say, ship, and it's going to carry oil, right? So it has to go dock where the oil is, right? And they put all the oil in the ship, and then the ship carries it. That's what the sperm is. It's just a carrier, a vehicle that's carrying. But someone is putting that jiva into the sperm, right? And that is Krishna. That's Mahavishnu. Actually, it's Mahavishnu. Simply by looking, he does it. See, that's why Prabhupada said this is a mystery. I mean, even if you explain it, it still remains a mystery. How is it happening? Insane.
So Jiva has a master design plan, and it got executed over a period of time. So
Yeah, exactly.
That
It's a
verse
design.
is the 331.1,
Yeah.
which talks about karmana daivane priyana.
Yes.
That one.
Yes.
The jiva, under the vision of the Lord, the soul is carried in the form of a sperm to the appropriate womb.
Ovum.
Ovum,
Yeah.
yeah. So the Lord is residing.
The one thing we have to figure out is the ovum a living cell. But it's bigger than a cell, obviously. It's a nutrient base. But is it and also there's the DNA. The DNA is not a soul, but the 23, let's say, facets of the DNA from the mother and 23 facets of the DNA from the father have to connect, and that makes the next body. Right. So that's also complicated. You see, once we learn all these things, all of a sudden, everything changes.
Even the fact that in the human mother has all the 23 pairs in every cell,
Yes.
except in the
Blood
eggs,
cells.
except in the eggs, the reproductive cell, because there only is half.
They're only what?
It's only the half the
Yeah.
chromosomes are put into the egg.
Yeah.
The same thing with sperm. The rest of our body typically has the 23 pairs. But
Okay, so
only-
speaking in the microphone. Start all over.
So, while the rest of the body for the mother as well as the father has typically the 23 pairs in every cell
Right.
of the body, the chromosome pairs. But in the reproductive egg, for example, in the mother or in the sperm, it's only half that
Yes.
is there. And this is by design, that's how
Yeah.
the
Now,
creation happens.
is all this happening by accident? No, it's obviously controlled. I mean, it's
Yeah,
too complicated
it is
to happen by
precisely
accident.
controlled. It is precise,
Yeah.
so precise.
Yeah.
It cannot be random. Random means like you have 1 in a billion
They're
chance. but
talking nonsense. They don't know what they're talking about. And they know it's nonsense. They just validate each other. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. You just say I'm right, and I'll say you're right. Then we're okay.
I think so far the medical profession or whatever is only focused on kind of the technology of manipulation. Means like whatever is there, they just want to manipulate and ride the creation. But then they don't want to give the credit to the source of it. So they
But if they do something, oh, they take credit for it.
Yeah.
Right? And they put their name on it. The Bose Finkelstein, this
On
thing.
the
and that.
allopathy, actually, I want to correct that, because if you
Yeah.
go to Ayurveda, that totally
Yeah,
different
because,
approach. So it goes to the root and try to find the causes.
Yeah, I'm talking about the modern science.
Okay, so you have some homework, right? And we learned something new today. The chemicals come from the soul. 3:31:1. Karmana netra, daiva netrena. Yep. Okay, so we're going to stop right there. So, I mean, obviously, you might not be able to do all the research today, but this is the homework. We have to have this information. And we begin with, in other words, we're accepting the fact that the body is the microcosm of the Virat Rupa. Right? So therefore, if we analyze the body correctly, we'll understand, well, we're understanding here how everything is coming from the Virat Rupa in the material world, right? But it will give us a deeper understanding of the volume of it and the quantification of it, Okay, everyone wants statistics, right? We got to have the statistics, right? Okay, we're going to give you statistics that are going to overwhelm you, because anytime you study anything about the material nature or body or the universe, it's overwhelming.
So, Maharaj, this is little bit, it's not a question, but it's a kind of a sharing about this verse. So, I was just sharing like maybe 6 or 7 years back or something. I had a huge debate with one of my friends. He's a Kashmiri Brahmin, and he was
Is
actually
is a Kashmiri sweater. Not a Brahmin.
Yeah, so
He was born in Kashmir. He has a sweater made of cashmere.
yeah. So discussion goes on something, and it comes to the topic that exactly like this, and I was not much aware about the particular verse or this information. And he's claiming that Brahmanas are like coming from top. So there is a hierarchy.
They're
You
coming
have
from what? Brahmanas
yeah,
are coming
from the head, right, the upper part of the Virat
It
Rupa,
says
right?
here that they're coming from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mouth.
exactly. So he's saying that he has Brahmanas are always great, and Shudras are always, I mean, this kind of. He is discriminating those. Like
Yeah.
you cannot. It's a hierarchy, so
But
you
that's
have to
not
accept.
Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
Everybody in the Varnashram system, everybody can make spiritual advancement, and everyone can go back to Godhead if they cooperate.
But Prabhupada gave nice explanation of that actually here in
Where?
the purport, that this body parts, you cannot have
Each
one.
and every part of the body is important. Although the mouth is the most important of the bodily parts. If other parts are cut off from the body, a man can continue his life, but if the mouth is cut off, one cannot live. Therefore, the most important part of the body of the Lord is called the sitting place of the Brahmanas, who are inclined to the Vedic wisdom. One who is not inclined to the Vedic wisdom, but to mundane affairs, cannot be called a Brahmana, even if he is born of a Brahmana family or father. To have a Brahmana father does not qualify one as a Brahmana. The main qualification of a Brahmana is to be inclined to the Vedic wisdom. The Vedas are situated on the mouth of the Lord, and therefore anyone who is inclined to the Vedic wisdom is certainly situated on the mouth of the Lord, and he is a Brahmana. There you go. That clinches it, right? This inclination towards Vedic wisdom is also not restricted to any particular caste or community. Whoa, Prabhupada doesn't let go, huh? It's going to anyone from any family and from any part of the world may become inclined to the Vedic wisdom, and that will qualify him as a real Brahmana. Anyone from any part of the world, and from any caste, from any whatever, you know. A real Brahmana is the natural teacher or a spiritual master. Unless one has Vedic knowledge, one cannot become a spiritual master. The perfect knowledge of the Vedas is to know the Lord, the personality of Godhead, and that is the end of Vedic knowledge or Vedanta. One who is situated in the impersonal Brahman and has no information of the Supreme Personality of Godhead may become a Brahmana, but he cannot become a spiritual master. Wow. So that guy that was talking to you, he'll never become a spiritual master. And he's not. He's just a nonsense. Okay. So we have our homework, and we have our, let's say, modus operandi. That's a nice word, modus operandi. It's a Latin term. Look that up. M-O-D-U-S O-P. Yeah. O-P-E-R-A-N-D-A. Yeah.
A particular way of doing something, especially one that is characteristic or well established.
Particular way to do something?
Yeah, a particular way or method of doing something, especially one that is characteristic or well established.
Right. So, what is our modus operandi? It is to collect information on the basis that the body is a microcosm of the Virat Rupa, and collect all the information that is scientifically available today and statistics that are known about the material body. It's like we just did it for blood, but there's plasma also. There are other things also.
So one way to probably understand is each of the planets, each of the because there are innumerable atoms within our body, so we can probably visualize the Vishwarupa as or Virat Rupa as the gigantic combination of innumerable cells, each one is being a planet or a star.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, see, we have to see where the acharyas say something like that. You can keep that in your mind as a thought, but you cannot validate it until you see in the Shastra if that's true, right? Just
Because
like I'm asking you a question. Is the ovum, what is it made of, right? It's a nutrient base, we know that, but what is it made of? Is it a living being? Is it a living cell or not a living cell? We have to understand. So now, I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I don't know.
Correct.
This is something I want to know.
Yeah.
Right? And we know that the sperm is a living being, right? Or at least once the jiva is put into the sperm. So now but it's just a vehicle, right? It is not. But it's not that it's a living being. It's a vehicle carrying the jiva. Is that the same for the ovum or not? That we should find out. And now you have a thought. Now before
we confirm,
you start repeating it over and over again, because what happens is you have a thought, you repeat it over and over again, and you just assume it has to be true.
But
right?
we need a shastric.
You have to see if that's stated somewhere in the. And sometimes it takes a long time to validate it. Right? But if you keep repeating it to other people, eventually you'll just believe it yourself. So you have to be careful of something like that.
Correct.
I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong. I don't know.
Correct. But one thing again, Maharaj, is like, let's say within an individual atom, there is a nucleus, and around which all the atoms, the electrons and protons or whatever, neutrons, they're all there is a rotation going on. We see in the creation also, let's say around the sun, how all these planets are rotating. So there is a common pattern, whether it is in gigantic form.
Well, yeah, there is such a thing as a microcosm that is let's say that is similar to the macrocosm.
Correct.
So Virat Rupa has a body, we have a body. Therefore, we're assuming if we study this body carefully, we'll understand a lot about the Virat Rupa. Now, the opposite is going on here in what we're reading. It's telling us how everything in our body is coming from the Virat Rupa.
Correct.
So we don't have to guess here. We know that this body is a microcosm of the Virat Rupa because it's right there in the Shastra. Right? Now, let's study the body to the degree that the scientists have analyzed it and come up with these statistics. And all of a sudden we see that the principle of, I would call this the fourth dimension. I wrote this book called The Fourth Dimension. The fourth dimension is where everything becomes unlimited, infinite, and eternal. Just like Vamana, he's a midget, but he can stretch his leg to the end of the universe and even crack the universe, right? Go through all those the seven layers covering the universe. If you think about that, if you try and measure the distances that he expanded his leg to, it's mind-boggling. We only see 6% of the universe, you see. And the universe is covered by 7 coverings, each one 10 times bigger than the other previous one. So, and he went through that. He not only came to the end of the visible universe, he went through all the coverings. And because of that, some drops of the Ganges came into the material world, right? So, once you start thinking about this, you say, well, this is impossible for any human being to do. No one can do something like that. And because that's entering the fourth dimension where everything becomes eternal and infinite. Right? So the body has the same thing going on. It's not eternal, but the soul is eternal, right? And because the soul and super soul are present in the body, these types of eternal and, or let's say, these types of infinite things are going on in the body in the same way that it's going on in the universe, right? So, And although the 6% of the universe that we can actually see is so big that it's difficult for us to even comprehend that. Imagine the rest of it, right? So we need to quantify now, right? Because once we have the statistics and we present it, and just like we had statistics there, right? So once we have the statistics of something like this, it's very difficult for people to argue with it.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult, because they can look it up and see we're not lying, you know.
Yeah.
And these are statistics not made by us, it's made by the scientists. Right? Now the question is how to interpret it. So we're going to give the right interpretation. Okay, of course.
Use science to defeat science.
No, there's a proverb like that in Bengali.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll let you know about that. This is basically what Prabhupada wanted the Bhaktivedanta Institute to do. And he told the scientists, you don't have to do any research. It's already done. You just have to interpret it correctly. And that's what Einstein did do. He didn't do any research. He just interpreted it correctly. Or in a certain way that, you know, Haribo. So, did you send me the
The updated version, no, I was, today I will definitely send one.
Okay.
I was trying to get the spacing needs to be again.
Okay, all right. Haribo.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma
Bando Moi Savadhana Mate
Mando Mui Sabadana Mate
Jahara Prasade Bhai E Baba Toriya Jai
Janata Prasade
Krishna Prapti Ho Jaha Hate
Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite
Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Kya
Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Kya
Arana Kori Ho Mane Asha
Arana Koriya Mane Asha
Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uthamagati
Guru Aise
जय प्रसादे पूरे सर्व आशा
Ye prasade pure sarvasa.
चतुदाना दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से
Babu se
दिव्य ज्ञान हृद प्रकाशितो
Divya Jnana Hriday Prakashito
प्रेमा भक्ति जहा होते अविद्या विनाश जाते
Prema Bhaktiya Hoite Avidya Vinasa Jate
वेद गाय जहरचरितो
Vedigaya Yaracharito
श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु आधमा जनारा बंधु
Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adana Janara Bandhu
लोकनाथ लोके राजीवाना
Lokanatha Lokera Jivana
आहा प्रभु कोरो दया देह मोरे पादा चया
Aha Prabhu Orodaya De Amore Padachaya
एबे जा सगु सुख श्री भुवाना
Ebe Asakusuti Bhuana
प्रभुपाद पतिता पावना
Prabhupada
जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने
Nama Om Vishnu Pradaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine
नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादे पाश्चात्यादेशधारिणे
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Vivaskatya Desatarine
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pararajagachas Tatara Satara Shri Shri Shrimad's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anatakoti Vaishnavindi Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikadol Okay. Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapura Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaura Premanandi Hari Bol. The lotus feet of our spiritual master, the only way by which we can obtain a pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. May I only wish to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection and fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic Brahma emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master, the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and Lord and master of devotees. Oh, Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread throughout all the three worlds. We take shelter of your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada, Patita Pavan Ki Jai. Haribol.
Thank you.